pass. He's going to take away his lungs. Oh, the big left. He rocked him.
Yeah.
Oh, another one. Left, right, left, right, overhead, right, left. Oh, the left. Oh, and down goes Will.
Athletes in the sports of boxing, mixed martial arts, and bare knuckle fighting have traditionally siloed into their particular specialties. In combat sports, the margin of error between triumph or defeat is simply too small, especially at the elite level, and most fighters are forced to go all in on one particular kind of combat in order to give themselves the best shot at becoming a champion. Well, seldom has there been a time in combat sports where a fighter shifted from specialty to specialty and still turned up victories at each juncture. That's the exact case with today's special guest. It's the NBA Cruiserweight Champion of the world, Uly Monster Diaz.
What's up, Jay, man? Thank you so much for the opportunity, brother. I truly appreciate you, man.
Those were some heavy hands you just saw getting thrown there.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and look at that bling. That's the NBA Cruiserweight belt as we speak, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. National Boxing Association Cruiserweight title.
Look at that thing. Man, you get a workout just lifting that thing.
Yeah, man. It's some heavy metal right here.
Wow, that's awesome. And how long ago did you win that strap?
This was October 25th of 2019.
Wow.
Yeah,
and,
so about a year and a half ago.
Forgive my ignorance. Have you had to defend it yet?
Not yet. I was supposed to defend it within 6 months, but then COVID hit. So there really has been not too much boxing. You know, boxing's been kind of sparse. So which actually was a good thing for me. It worked out for me because I got to debut in Bareknuckle and then have my second fight, which I broke the combat record for fastest knockout in combat sports history, which is amazing.
You've been everywhere. You're in, like, if you pick a combat sport, Uly Diaz is in it.
That's
and
right.
now, you know, it must be, you know, you're doing so well in every sport. It must be kind of challenging to make a decision. Maybe you don't have to make this decision. You know, which particular combat sport you want to kind of drill down on. You know, like you say, you're undefeated in bare knuckle. You're 12-1 in boxing with 11 KOs. And now, you know, our show, Titan FC, that you and I got to do the other day, you're doing MMA too, and you handled your opponent in that fight as well quite handily.
Yeah, it's Steven Chesnick. That's right. That was his name.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
The first round, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I think it was about a minute and a half. Yeah.
I think it was after one.
So
Yes,
you're getting business handled in the cage. You're getting business handled in the ring. And what does David Feldman call his
The squared circle.
a squared circle? Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's a
Yes,
really
sir.
interesting ring, if you will, the squared circle.
Yeah,
It looks
is.
like nothing else I've ever seen in combat sports. What's it like?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's it like fighting in there? How firm are the ropes? I don't know if they're ropes.
The ropes are actually made of steel, just covered in padding. So it's hard in there. You know, if you hit those ropes, it's tough. I actually love it. I love the way bare knuckle's set up. That we start standing 3 feet apart. You were asking me what do you think I'm gonna stick to, and it looks like I'm gonna stick to bare knuckle for now. You know, I have a fight coming up April 16th. As of right now, they told me my opponent is Phil Baroni, a UFC veteran. So I'm looking forward to that fight.
Good.
Yes, sir.
I love the New York badass as much as anybody else.
Yeah.
But man, I think his switch has been flipped, man. I think that's a short fight. You might break your 3-second world record with that one.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna try to beat it, but you never know what can happen because I like to start fast. And like I tell people, don't blink.
Is bare knuckle a sport that's uniquely tailored to a guy like you? You look at your assets, you're jacked, you're a heavy dude for your height, and it's all muscle, but you move that muscle well. You got great lateral movement. Obviously, you got great straight ahead movement, and you got power in both hands. Is bare knuckle a sport that's uniquely tailored to your physical attributes?
I feel like it is. Another thing is I'm not afraid to get hit. You know, obviously, you know, the name of the game is try not to get hit, but I'm not afraid to get hit. I grew up fighting on the streets my whole life. It got me into trouble as a kid, got me kicked out of school. It got me sent to prison as a young man. I fought in prison. And these are all bare knuckle fights, up until I turned professional. So bare knuckle is something that, yeah, I guess you could say it's tailored to me, tailored to my style, tailored to my old lifestyle,
Yeah. And that's something I'm so excited to talk with you about. The name of this show is called For the Fighter in You. And the reason I started it is because I wanted to do a give back. I got the television. The televisions, I've been very blessed. It's been good to me. The numbers are great. I don't know what the podcast is going to do, but if it gets to one person with a story of redemption from the person I'm interviewing, a story of someone finding the fighter inside themselves and dusting it off, because I think we all have a fighter inside us. And I think we sometimes forget that. And sometimes he or she gets locked away in a room, inside us, and we're too scared to let that door open because we're scared of what it's going to look like. It could be rage, could be sadness, could be fear, whatever, letting that fighter out. But there's no other way to do life. Like, you got to let that fighter out. You got to fight the good fight. And so you found a way somehow, after growing up on the tough streets of South Miami, ended up in prison, some of the hardest prisons in the country, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely.
And somehow, first tell us about the prison experience. And then after the prison experience, what was that moment? If there was like one moment, and maybe it was a series of gradual things, but there was like one moment where you just said, not me. This is not the life for me. Like, there's that, that moment where the light goes on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I remember that day perfectly, Well, prison was tough, I went in there thinking it was cliche like the movies, and it was, in a way it was, it's a tough place to be. I was there at a young age. I had a chip on my shoulder. And that moment you're talking about came to me while I was sitting in prison. I was 23, 24, 25 years old. But in between that time, I was sitting there, and, I grew up with a single mom. She did everything she could for me, provided me with, with the best she can. I just didn't get the time. I never had a father figure. I never had an uncle. I never had a man in my life to tell me to put me in the right direction. And I don't say that as a pity trip. I don't have any regrets in my life there. Everything happened for the way it is, and it built me to the man I am today. But I remember looking back and thinking to myself, I'm not better than anybody, but I'm better than this. I'm better than sitting here wasting my life away, rotting away. You know what I mean? And it was an eye opener. It was something that I think about still to this day. I definitely know that I never want to go back there. And and when I came out at a young age. I had kids already when I came out. I didn't have direction in my life. I always lacked structure. I always wanted structure in my life, but I lacked it. I didn't know how to get it. And so I went back the wrong route. Even when I got out, I went back the wrong route, and luckily I started, I turned professional at 35 years old, and I got out of prison at 25. So it was 10 years of still going down the wrong path. Luckily, nothing ever came, nothing bad ever came of it again. I never had to go back to prison. I did have a couple stumbles on the road, but I had this eye-opening moment. I was living in Colorado, and I like to tell people it was like an epiphany. I believe in God. I feel I grew up believing in God, and not very religious, but I am spiritual. And I feel that something had to, something allows me to be here today and be able to tell my story, and I like to call it God. So I had a come to God moment where I got on my knees, and for the first time in my life, I was a day-to-day guy. I never really said, 5 years ahead of me or 2 years ahead of me. But that day I said, I did some math. I was 35. I go, man, 10 years from now, I'll be 45 years old. Am I really going to be trying to do this, excuse my language, but BS, And I was like, and I brought me to my knees. It brought tears out of my eyes. And I was like, that's it. I can't do it no more. And this was always a dream of mine, fighting, but I was always good at fighting. I fought on the street. I did amateurs at 19, 20 years old. It was something I always wanted to pursue. I'd go to fights and watch fights and be like, man, I wish I was up there doing this, And I said, oh, you know what? I'm going to have my bucket list moment. I'm going to take pictures, tell my kids I did it. It was going to be a one-time thing. And I did it, and it was like the best drug I've ever had in my life, and it was, the best high I've ever had in my life. And from that moment forward, I just kept with it, and I finally learned what hard work meant and consistency. And here I am, 4 years and a couple months later, after my professional debut, and life has been amazing. I got the fastest knockout in combat sports. My kids are beyond proud of me. I can actually do things with my kids. I don't have to lie to them and tell them, that I do, that dad does X, Y, and Z. Now, they can actually see what I do, and it's there is no bad days for me, Jay.
We're going to talk about all the cool stuff you're doing right now, and I want to go back just a little bit just because I'm curious, and I'm sure the viewers are curious as well. When you were in prison, were there dangerous moments? Were there, kind of sketchy moments where you're like, I might not get out of this? And did that kind of help push you forward to, hey, we're all human and anyone can get taken out at any time and I got to get out of here? Were there any of those kinds of moments?
Absolutely. And from the moment I opened my eyes to the moment I closed my eyes every day, and even in between when my eyes were closed, you had that kind of sleep with that third eye open. Prison is definitely a sketchy place at all times of day. You're dealing with all types of animosity. You never know when somebody's having a bad day, when somebody made a phone call home and they got a bad phone call. It's a tough place to be. It's a tough place to be. And, at the age I was there, and the time I was there, I felt like I was better than that place I was at. But I was there at a young age. Again, I had no father figure, no man in my life ever. So I thought I was a badass. Honestly, that's what was going through my head. I was a badass. I was around these grown men, and I was around these badasses, what I thought were badasses at the time, and I was holding my own. So it kind of fed the wrong side of my ego for a while. But I have, and I mean, not to pat myself in the shoulder, but I do have a humble side. I was never a bully. I never picked on people, but I always stood my ground, and it taught me a lot. And like I said, it made me the man I am today. I think back a lot on those times when I was in prison, when I'm leading up to fights, and when you have those moments that make you nervous, I put myself in that position and be like, man, you stood your ground in these sketchy, very sketchy situations. I'm in a professional setting now. There's nothing that can happen here that I got to worry about that I wasn't, that I didn't get through back then.
Yeah. What's going to happen? What's going to happen
right.
inside the squared circle or inside a cage?
Right. Nobody here is going to sucker punch you or come up from behind and try to do anything to you. So yeah, I tell them you can call me whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. Let me know when all those words make me start bleeding. The moment they do, then I'll do something about it. But words don't do nothing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Having been around the sport for a while now myself. At a fight, no matter where I am, it could be in the States, it could be in Europe, it could be in Asia, and you could be like at the weigh-ins or at a club or whatever. The guys who fight, the last ones who fight are MMA or boxers. Like you cannot drag them into a fight. They get paid to fight, so they're not going to fight you for free, right? They get paid to fight.
Absolutely.
And B, they're already proven everything they need to prove. Like they don't question.
And they got confidence. They're confident in themselves.
They're not insecure. They don't need to prove themselves to some beer guy who's drunk like that.
Absolutely.
There's nothing you can say to me. Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Jay. I grew up, before prison and after prison and during prison. I grew up in gangs and the gang life. And I also grew up in martial arts. I did karate. I did amateur boxing as a young kid. And I always noticed that my friends that were in martial arts were always gentlemen, always great people, very nice people. And the guys that I was in the street with, that were in the gangs and stuff with, that didn't know how to fight, were the loudmouths and the guys always starting trouble. You know what I mean? And I deciphered that at a young age. That's why I got into a lot of problems and this and that, but I was never a bully. I was never out there picking on people. I was never doing nonsense like that. I was into other dumb stuff.
Yeah. You were you actually were in a tough situation. Like it's possible to grow up in a tough neighborhood where you have to, I doubt I had 1/5 of what you had, but I did grow up in a junkie town outside of Boston, and there was pecking order. There was if you didn't defend yourself, you're in trouble. Like
right.
You drop all the way down to the bottom of the ladder, and now there's like 9 other dogs picking on you rather than one dog.
Absolutely.
It's like, I can't not do this. and same thing. Didn't my dad left early. He was a nice guy. It wasn't that he abandon us. They just got divorced early and he went on and did his own life. So I was raised by my mom. And the same thing, I had no sense of, I didn't have the male figure. All I knew is the times I didn't defend myself, things got worse for me. It got worse. It's not that I wanted to, it's not that I wanted to, but you're on the bus going into school and some dude just starts asking for your money, literally for your lunch money. You're like,
yeah.
I want to.
I know. I was in those. Yeah, I was in those moments as a kid, and I remember that. Me throwing a punch and starting a fight. We'd tussle and all that, but at the end, when it was over and we didn't get in trouble for it, they'd hug me and be like, "Hey, you're tough, man. I want you." They wanted you on their side and they wanted to be your friend. These guys who before this moment wanted to beat you up now want to be on your side because they're like, "All right. This kid has some balls on him. It's better to have him on my side than against me."
Yeah, right. You just made it onto the team.
Right.
It's kind of like a gang, right? Where they jump you and then you hold your own after they jump you, and all right, you're on the team.
It's like you said, it's a pecking order, and that goes throughout life. Whether it comes from fighting to corporate lifestyle to anything, there's a pecking order.
Right. And how are you going to make your way up that ladder by doing stupid things and eventually going to jail. And now you got 500 dogs over you, because now you got corporation, you've got the government, you've got police, you've got all these dogs over you. Or you're going to play the game, sharpen the sword, if you will, the mental sword, the spiritual sword, the physical sword, and go to war in a peaceful way, the peaceful warrior. And
absolutely.
It's a hard lesson, but, I see the things you're doing out there, and it's funny when you do a full circle, isn't it? All you want to do is give back. Like all you want to do is share that thing you discovered, right?
Absolutely.
Isn't that a weird thing? Like,
absolutely.
For me, I just want to share, that I've been in the room with the lights off, watching, TV for 17 hours, eating just shite, eating, and getting fat and depressed.
Absolutely. I've been there too.
And dark.
Yeah.
So all the different hacks that I did to get around it, all I want to do, that's what all this podcast is. Like I'll put all my different biohacks on here. I'll interview brothers like you who have these amazing stories. All I want to do is get to that one dude on the couch who's thinking of doing something dark, right? That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do.
Yeah. You know what?
Things you can do.
Absolutely.
Will it happen immediately? Will you immediately? No.
Yeah.
There's a guy out there. I forget his name. He's an author. He's got a book called Atomic Habits. And I think he's a SEAL, but forgive me if he's not. But he's a dude who teaches just little micro things you hold on to, pick up this habit. Okay, now this is a new habit. I always do this.
Absolutely.
This is another new habit. This is what I do. And you pile them up. Singles and doubles, to use a baseball analogy, right? Singles
absolutely.
And doubles, it wins ball games,
Absolutely. And it's like I told you, I lack structure, but I always look for it in my life. So I started picking up, I always started picking up these little habits. I always like waking up early. I started, after I wake up early, let's do something positive with that. And then I just kept the ball rolling. And I noticed I have a formula that says consistency over time equals success. Stay consistent. And over time, you will be successful. You're not gonna make it from Tuesday to Wednesday. You're not gonna be a superstar, but just keep moving forward. And on the topic of giving back, you're absolutely right. That's all I want to do now. Once a month, I have an organization, I guess you could call it. It's called Fighting versus Hunger, where I have local restaurants here in Miami. They give me food. They give me about 200 to 300 meals. The Miami Dolphins have been involved for the last 2 meals, and I go once a month and I go feed the homeless all around Miami. And it's been growing. It started with 4 friends that they started it out of their own pocket. I came along with them. I started posting on my Instagram. As my Instagram and my notoriety grew, my last feed had over 100 people, and they come out and I tell everybody, they ask me if they can bring food, blankets, anything. I go, look, I don't want you to bring anything. Just bring your hands and help me pass out the food that we got. And it's been great through this whole COVID. I did it. All these small restaurants that were, a couple of small restaurants that were hurting through COVID. The Miami Dolphins paid for the meals, so they got the small business got money, and then we got to supply the food to the people on the streets, and it's been amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
You triggered a thought in my head. I'll tell you a story. When I was living in LA, and this was an ego story. Like, this is about me. First, I thought it was a different type of story, but then upon reflection, I realized it was an ego story and about humility. So I'm driving in Santa Monica. I had just come from Trader Joe's. My car was stocked up with bags of food. I saw this big black homeless dude, like 300 plus pounds, must have been 6'6", 6'7". Just the clothes were just like falling off him. You know, they were so shredded and caked in dirt and oil and everything. And I almost did what I always do, right? Mindless. You're thinking of where you got to go. You got a million things on your mind. And I went by him, and something just hit me. It's just one of those little moments of clarity. And I said, "You got 9 bags of groceries in your car. You've been blessed with so much abundance. This dude's starving, and you can't give him one freaking bag of groceries.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?" And I just like turned the car around. It was wicked inconvenient because I had to be somewhere. I turned the car around, give the dude a couple bags of groceries. His face lights up. We make eye contact, and we have a human moment. And I was high as a kite for like 2-3 hours afterwards. High as a kite. And then here's the humility part. So I thought the story's over, right? And now, well, let me preface, that was a moment of giving that was not predicated on anything. There's no TV cameras. There's no one seeing. This is before social media. You can't get credit for it. It was just a heart moment. And that's probably why I got so high as a kite, because it was so pure.
Right. Absolutely.
2 weeks later, bro, I'm in Santa Monica. I see the same dude. I didn't have any groceries at the time, but I had a bunch of power bars. I keep bars like in my glove compartment, you know?
Right.
I had like 10 or 15 bars. I'm like, oh yeah, get that feeling. I want that feeling again. Adams, you're such a saint. You're such a saint. Let me get the power bars. You're the freaking man, Adams. You're the man. I get all the power bars. I go walking up to him thinking the dude's going to be like, you're my savior again, right? I give him the bars. He's like, F you bet. He was like in a bad place. You know, like you're saying about the dude who gets a bad phone call.
Right.
Mental health isn't quite what it needs to be, right? So the guy goes off on me. He's a big monster, right? Pardon the word, but he's a monster. And, and I'm like, so then I had a moment of rage, like, you rude MFer, I'm giving you food. I gave you all that food a couple of weeks. Now I'm giving you more, and you're treating me like this. So I had the indignant, right? I'm indignant. Oh, how dare you? And I'm like, I'll knock your ass out. Like so anyway, I get in the car after we came a little close, just barking, just barking.
Right.
I get in the car, and I'm still on fire. I'm on fire.
But you're not feeling the high.
I was not feeling the high, bro. I'm driving, and I'm like, I should turn this car around and just sleep him. I should just sleep him. It was so rude. And then all of a sudden, as time went on, my good side started realizing I was like watching myself be this little spoiled brat. And I realized the second time around, I was doing it for the wrong reasons, unlike the first time, which came from my heart. The second time around, you know what I'm saying, bro? The second time was, Adams, you're such a saint. You are look at you giving food to the homeless. So I'm like, oh, lesson learned. Yeah. I had to take that one. I had to take that one on the shin.
And I know exactly what you dealt with, because I deal with people on the streets. They live in tents, they live under bridges. And 99.9% of the time, they're lovely people with me. They love me. They recognize me already. I've been doing it for over a year. Everybody recognized me. But they have a couple of people have mental issues. So I got out of the car one time, and I tell them, hey, I got soda, I got pizza, I got spaghetti. And one girl's like, F you, get out of here. I'm like, all right, good. But I understood the problem. We smiled at her. I kept moving. She didn't want to take the pizza from my hand, so I put it down by her feet, and I just kept moving, But yeah, I know that situation.
And the more I work on myself, the higher my compassion goes, and I see the pain and I see the suffering more than I get. Like, here's an interesting thing. One of my mentors told me, he said, when you take offense at something, that's just as bad as giving offense. When you take offense, like I take offense at what you said to me. That's just like being an offensive person.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Rather than
Absolutely.
I was you, and I could be you tomorrow. I was you 5 years ago, driving around, beeping the horn, giving people a finger. I was you, and I could be you tomorrow if I'm not careful.
Right.
So
Right.
who am I to say it about you? Like, because I could easily slip on the way home tonight. I could slip.
Right. Absolutely.
I ain't throwing no rocks, man. I'm in a glass house.
Right. There's a proverb that says, I'm not sure exactly how it goes. I'm paraphrasing, but it's like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to die.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah. That's a good one. I think that was His Holiness the Dalai Lama said that, I believe.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That was him. He had the philosophy of kindness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some of the cool stuff you're doing. All right. So we've already established you're fighting for Titan FC. You're fighting for BKFC. It looks like you're going to do some shows for Mr. Feldman.
Yes, sir.
Great brand, by the way. He has a great reputation from everyone I've talked to. Always pays his fighters on time. He's a fighters promoter. The shows look fantastic. What's it like working for David Feldman over at BKFC?
You know what? He's been great to me. He's given me 2 great opportunities, and one of them I made world history with. So we're just moving forward from there. I recently, I say now, probably about 4 months now, I've been with a new management team that he deals with on a business basis, and it's been really good for me. And they got me this fight coming up now in April. They got me. Feldman told me I saw Feldman at the Knuckle Mania. He told me it was going to be against Baroni. My manager confirmed that the other day. We got Phil Baroni, which is amazing to me. It's a huge name. He's a UFC veteran. Yeah, I was a fan of his when he was fighting.
I love watching him fight, man. I love watching him fight.
Yeah.
Yep, he's so exciting. He's got a 2-minute storm that's legitimately dangerous.
Yeah. No, he does. It's gonna be. Listen, me and him in that squared circle is gonna be fireworks, man. And I look forward to setting him off.
How could this is what I told David. I told Feldman. I said, you really got the sport. Like I have to watch you fight Baroni. I don't have a choice. I have to.
Yeah.
I have to. You're gonna make me get that pay-per-view because I'm not gonna miss that fight.
No, hopefully you'll be ringside. I think the fight's in Miami, so you'll be ringside, Jake.
Perfect. I will be there. I will be there.
Yeah, and you know what? Speaking on a realistic basis, after the 3-second knockout, everybody I know, and this is not to pat myself on the back. This is on a reality. Everybody that I got a lot of people who believe in me and knew I could do that. But the people who don't think that's a fluke. So I want to come back and show people that that's not a fluke. And I gotta, like I said, I was a fan of Baroni's, but when he's standing across me from that squared circle, I gotta put him in his place, and then we'll hug it out after the fight.
Yeah.
But I want to show the world that the monster is not a fluke, man. That I have that power in me, and that's what I'm known for.
If people are doubting it, or if people are curious about it, want to see it, you can see it online. The guy's name is Danelli Benedetto.
Yes.
And you guys, like you say, you gotta come up to the scratch line, right? How far away are you from the opponent when the fight starts?
3 feet.
3 feet. And
yes,
you
sir.
literally, the ref says fight, and it was so fast. And you could see why people would be like, wait, is that even real? Because, like it happened so fast. Yeah. But anyone who knows fighting and anyone who's in the medical profession, anyone just really, I think even to the casual observer, looking at Benedetto, the dude was slept. There's no doubt he was, you slept.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, Jay, that was my game plan for a month before that fight. Me and my coach went over that move and over and over and over and over and over. And I knew, and if you hear Sean Wheelock, which is a commentator,
the big wheel,
Sean Wheelock, yeah, he's a commentator for BKFC. You can hear him say, and there's that fast start that I had told him about, and I started off the line, and by the grace of God, I hit him with that lightning bolt right in the chin.
Wow. Another hat you're wearing, besides all the other hats we've already spoken about, philanthropist and MMA fighter, boxer, which, who holds the NBA Cruiserweight Championship. Of course, BKFC undefeated. On top of all that, as if you're not already busy enough, you've now put the suit on and you've joined us at the dais at Titan FC. You got sideline banter going on. You got sideline banter. We threw it to you during the fight and you kicked it. Yeah. You really did. You did a great job.
We got the monster cage side. What do you got, Uly?
What's up, guys? It's Uly the Monster Diaz here, reporting live from Titan FC 67. This is a featherweight vacant belt fight. I'll get Murad versus Naimov. A great fight. If this fight was a race, it'd be Formula One. It's been high paced since the beginning. Stay tuned, don't miss out, and don't blink.
That fist is the fist that has the fastest knockout in sports, combat sports history.
And I was sitting cage side to see it, man. I couldn't have been more proud of the guy, man. Uly Diaz, the monster, has the fastest knockout in combat sports history. He got it in Bareknuckle FC. I think it was, they called it 3 or 4 seconds, but I mean, I saw it was in 2 seconds, but I had to wait for the second for the ref to stop.
Tell me about the decision. Is that something you see more of, being in front of the cameras?
I would love that, Jay. And Lex McMahon has been great to me. Lex McMahon is an amazing guy. I couldn't ask for a better friend when it comes to the fight world than Lex, and he gave me that opportunity, and I made the most of it, man. I just had fun with it. People were asking me, "Are you nervous?" I go, "No, man. I went out there. I took the pressure off myself. I go, you know what? I'm just gonna talk normal. Try my hardest not to cuss on TV, and." And I ran with it, and I had a great time, man. And and you and Charles Rosa, Charles Rosa is a brother to me. I love Charles Rosa. Yeah. You guys did an amazing job. And I got to hear it. Charles sent me the clip after the fight. When I finished and you guys started talking, and it's amazing, man. It's amazing to be talking with you guys, being in the same room as you guys, doing that, and you can't fight forever. So obviously I got to look for little slots, see where I fit in after this fight career is over. And it'd be awesome to be a commentator sitting at the desk with you, Jay, one day.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you're already there, and that's a really good segue. I'm glad you brought that up. Have you thought about your 5-year and 10-year? I remember you said earlier,
yes,
back in the day, you were just thinking one day at a time, right? We all had those short clocks when we were young.
Right.
And, basically what am I going to do tonight? That was basically the planning.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Have you thought about what it looks like for you down the road?
I absolutely have. I started my own podcast. It's called Don't Blink Podcast. And I've got a couple of things cooking on the business side of things. Because and like everybody knows, fighting is not forever. I have a couple more fights that left me in. How many? I don't know. Maybe a couple more years. I feel great. I'm in tip-top shape. I'm as healthy as I've ever been in my whole life. I feel great. I have a lot of great opportunities coming up in the fight world. But as I do that, I want to parallel, the outside business with the fights. So when I do make my exit, hopefully with another one of these from BKFC, not hopefully, but when I make my exit with another one of these from BKFC, I could, leave the sport with my head held high and do something and keep working for the sport that I love and do something great. Be able to commentate on the sides and give their guys give guys their chance to shine.
I watched Don't Blink, and it is legitimately entertaining. It is legitimately engaging. It's compelling television to watch. And initially I'm watching it because I want to get a little background on you and just check it out. I found myself just watching it, and I'm like,
"Thank you."
Time's going by. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "All right, I'll be on the second." I was watching it, I'm watching it like the programming, and it was actually a really cool. I saw the episode with you and a very special lady. We haven't spoken about her yet.
Yeah.
Very special lady, Dana Brooke.
Yes.
And she's a WWE superstar, and she was on the show with her tag team partner. So I tell go watch this show. It's so good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, shows, and it's long and still good, and that's really important, and that really tells you a lot. It's one thing to be a short little show and be good, but to have long amounts of content and it's still engaging all the way through. So tell us what it's like, what it's been like producing the show, and then maybe morph over into Dana and tell us a little bit about how you guys met and.
So Don't Blink was born. I actually tried it before I started with the crew I have now. I tried it with two other friends that already have podcasts. But we talked well together, but they had too much things going on and it wasn't coinciding. So then I got with the guys I'm with now, which are great friends of mine, and we started Don't Blink, and it's actually been going amazing. We got great guests. It's a current event show. We try to talk about some current events. A lot of times we get caught up in our guest stories, which are great. So I let them, I let them talk, because I like to see people kind of be able to talk and vent and not have no interruptions, But it started off as a current event show, So we let you talk about what how you got to where you're at today, and then we talk about some topics that have been going on. Like we brought up Texas the other day with the snow. I always bring up aliens on my show. I don't know why. I like that's always fascinated me since I was a kid is aliens. So I think about that all the time.
And
the pyramids.
Trump.
The COVID bill.
You heard about
the
that?
COVID? Yeah, that's what I bring up. Yeah, I have a countdown on my show. I have a countdown because it was 180 days since they signed the COVID bill. Now we're down to like 120 days, I think, till they have to release all the UFO information. So that's a big part of the show.
I lived in Los Angeles for a long time, and I was very blessed to do some pretty cool stuff. And some of the producers, who I know that produce network television, and a lot of them worked on a lot of the UFO stuff. And they had access, to astronauts, they had access to generals, they had access to CIA, and all behind the scenes would take the producers aside and would say, off the record, and the producer had to say yes. If the producer says off the record, the producer can't say shit.
Of course.
Now, you're at a party, you're in LA, you're in Laurel Canyon. Drinking and maybe smoking, and your lips get a little loose. And they told me some stuff, bro. They told me some stuff. And they're like 100%. This is not conspiracy. This is not any 100%. We are visited on a regular basis, and we have been thousands of years. That's what Chariots of the Gods are. If you ever watched that movie, Chariots of the Gods, it's one of the original ones. Why on all these old Egyptian walls are there flying things? Flying saucers.
Well, and speaking on that. We have 2021, all the technology in the world, cranes, bulldozers, pulleys, anything you can think of, and we cannot duplicate a pyramid. And that's just one thing. Don't get me started on the rest of the things. It's so many, But in about 118, 120 days, we'll find out what's on that that COVID bill, the UFO release. So we'll see.
That big heavy cat from Israel, like he's one of the big heavy cats from Israel, like the Defense Department chief.
Oh yeah. I saw that. He's like an 80-year-old man. That was one of my current events actually. In a couple shows ago, he's retiring. He's probably about to die, and he's like, hey,
he's got nothing to lose. He's like, I've been carrying this around with me. I gotta say it.
Yeah. I read that. It's crazy.
I know. All right, tell us about your beautiful bride. What a couple!
Yeah, man.
What a power couple, man.
Yeah. I listen. She's a blessing in my life. She's like I said, I've always lacked structure. She's always had structure in her life. She's taught me a lot. She's got me to where I am today, man. From the time I met her to where I'm at today, I've had so many great things happen to me. The world record, and on top of that, just so many great opportunities. And she's amazing in my life, man. She really is a blessing to me. We met through a mutual friend, Yoel Romero. UFC, middleweight, one of the baddest men on earth. He was my coach. He was my coach for an MMA fight, and he's a great friend of mine. He's like a brother to me.
Wow.
And he introduced me to her, and from day one at Jay, we hit it off, man. And we haven't left each other's side since day one.
Wow.
It's been over a year, yeah, and yeah, she's great to me, and we have a great relationship, and it's awesome. She's a WWE superstar, which is still amazing to me. You know, I still pinch myself to see if it's true, and you know, she actually I wrestled against Dolph Ziggler on WWE Raw Underground, and which was an amazing opportunity. And I've met the Undertaker through her. I went to Royal Rumble last year, you know, and it's listen, man, it's amazing. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy
Wow.
the places that life takes you. You know. You know what? I was speaking to you the other day, and you were telling me about your friends that you know how you've been on TV for a long time, and this is a saying I've always said since I was a kid. You know, I've always noticed it's not what you know, it's who you know. You know. And as long as you're a good person and you're good to people, good things always come back to you, you know. And
They
like I
do,
said,
man.
I've had my trouble in life, and I've done my things, but I've never done bad to good people. You know, as
Mm.
weird as that may sound, I've never done bad to good people, and life has always been, you know, it's had its moments, but it's always been good to me. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's really clear. Again, I'll encourage people to go see that episode of Don't Blink. You know, because when you watch your interaction with Dana and everybody else, you know, at the dais, and you were leading the show. You know, you're the anchor, and I watched the generosity and the legitimate curiosity, which is very important in a host. Legitimate curiosity. You weren't afraid to go off script and just see where it goes. You weren't afraid to be vulnerable. You weren't afraid to look bad. You weren't afraid, like you were just being really sincere and really genuine. Uh, and when you watch that, like it really, to me, I looked at you and I'm like, this is a dude who's come full circle. This is a
Yeah.
dude who's seen the dark and he's come up and he is doing so much work on himself that he's not just up above sort of even, right? You're down here in the
Right.
lowest of the low and you come up here, okay, now you're just kind of surviving and you're not getting in trouble anymore and you're not, no, you're up here, man. You're like light and you're creating opportunities not just for yourself but everyone around you. And
Yeah.
it's like energy, man. You put out good energy and it just keeps multiplying. Have you probably noticed this too, Uly? Tell me if you've noticed this. Every month, probably for you now, it's doing this more and more. And now it's doing this. And the more it does this, it starts going like this, like this. It's like
Absolutely,
faster and
Jay.
faster and faster. It's
Absolutely, Jay.
compounding interest in the bank. It gets bigger and bigger all by itself. It starts becoming a life of its own.
Absolutely, Jay.
And that's what's
You know what
happening
I
for you right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You know what I learned when I found my calling in the sport, and I found out what hard work really is, and that's consistency, and just keep your head, you know, your nose down, keep your face down, and just keep working and working and working, and things will happen. You know, because everybody has those moments of like, man, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? And I'll tell you something you can relate to. So, you know, not that I was having that moment, but everybody has those moments like, man, you know, what am I working for? What's next? Like, is anybody noticing? And then I get a phone call from you and you tell me those things you told me the other day on the phone. Hey, man, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this direction? You know,
Ah,
and I'm like, you know, and I had you on speakerphone. I was laying in bed with my girl and I had you on speakerphone and I hang up and my girl was like, wow, that's like amazing. And those are eye-opening moments to me because where I came from to where I'm at, to have a person like you know what I mean? I look up to you, Jay. You know you're a man who's done it in his life, and I could only hope to get to you know, to as close as you've been, you know, and it's amazing and it's touching when you
it
call
is.
me, you tell me these things, and I sit there and I'm like, man, what I got to do is what I'm doing. Keep my nose down, keep working, stay out of trouble, keep doing the right thing, stay positive. Wake up, you know. There's you. Not every day do I wake up with a smile on my face, but I force one on my face to make sure I keep digging and grinding, and things happen, man. Things happen. It's amazing. And like you said, it just takes those turns up, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to
It's
set up a
amazing.
series of phone calls with you and for you with some of my guys on the West Coast, showrunners who bring big shows, you know, to the networks. And these are guys who do it. Like you'll know their shows.
It's
And because
awesome.
I really think it's there. what you're looking for when you're looking for good stories, right? Because that's what content is. Television content is storytelling. And what you're always looking for is moments of redemption, moments of beauty. I think you and I talked about this offline, but like you want to talk about good storytelling, look at Sylvester Stallone in Rocky 1.
Yeah. We
Go
talked
to
about
Stallone, right? And you say to Stallone, hey, that movie you made on boxing is amazing. They go, what movie on boxing? That movie, Rocky, the movie you made about boxing. I didn't make any movie about boxing. What do you mean?
Yeah.
No, it's a love story, bro. It's a love story.
Yeah.
It's about me and Adrian. And it's about Adrian being there for me when I lost my way and I lost my courage. And my fighter inside me I couldn't find him. He was locked away somewhere. And she was there. And interesting moment of the script when he's sitting on the edge of the bed right before the fight. The fight's the next night. And he's sitting on the edge of the bed. And
who am I? I don't deserve this.
Yeah. Adrian's like, what's up, Rock? Who am I to think I could be champion of the world? And Adrian, who are you to think you shouldn't be the champion of the world?
Right.
And, the big movie companies wanted to take that scene out because they thought it was boring, right?
Right.
And Stallone said, no, you don't get the movie. You take that scene out, you don't get me. You don't get Rocky. And they're like, all right, we'll put it in. Because that's like that for him. He got it. Oh, this is
and that's the movie altering moment right there. That's what made it, that's what brings tears to my eyes, man.
Me too. I still 40 years later, the whole reason I'm not talking about in the ring after he wins and he's screaming because I get choked up. I still 40 I can't.
Hey, you Adrian.
I still can't do it because
man.
Brilliantly, all the cameras. This is a metaphor. All the cameras, Rocky, and he's going like this, right? The metaphor is this wasn't for fame. This wasn't for fame. Get these cameras out of here. Get these cameras out of here. Yeah. It's the mic. All I want to do is say, we did it.
Yeah.
To me, if I ever meet the dude, and I've had like 1 degree of separation like 6 times with Stallone.
Yeah.
If I ever meet the dude, it's just going to be this. Like,
you got to give him the line. Look, I got one of my biggest fans right here. Come over here, boy. There's another one of the hats I wear.
Oh, hey, what's up?
There's a little monsters. Say what's up. His name is Jake.
How you doing, big man?
He can't hear you because I got you in my ears.
Okay. What's his name?
But Uly Jr.
Oh, Uly Jr. All right.
Yeah.
Right
the little monster.
It's like Mayweather Jr.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully he'll do what Mayweather did with that junior
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, hopefully he does better than that. I don't want him to be a fighter. He's smarter and more handsome.
There you go. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm real careful with my son too. Like he wants to play football. I'm not letting him play football. He does play lacrosse, but he's not. Like I took the hits, right, in the Army and in martial arts. I took the hits. I don't want him taking those.
Right. Right. Well, I have him. He boxes. Him and my nephew. My nephew's over here too. He boxes and he wrestles because I want him to know what they're doing. I want them to know how to defend themselves. I want them to protect their friends against bullies or anything like that. They know what they're doing. How to handle themselves. But that's just to know what you're doing. And like I said, people who know what they're doing are less likely to be bullies. Right. In my opinion, in my my experience.
Yeah, nothing
so I want him to know what exactly nothing to prove. He knows what he's doing. You come to him with that BS.
He knows.
He laughs it off, and then once you step in that circle, you went too far. I told you not to do that. And then he'll help pick you up off the ground.
Yep. What did David Banner say? David Banner said, you probably shouldn't do that because you really don't want to see me when I'm angry. The Hulk.
Right, exactly.
You probably shouldn't do that.
You know what just happened? If I'm not mistaken, it happened over this weekend because I just saw it yesterday. Spencer Jones, he's I think a quarterback or a cornerback for Oklahoma University, big football player, right? He's picking on a little white dude, on a little white kid in a bar. Right, when we finish here, you can look this up. Spencer Jones gets in fight.
I love those videos.
So he's picking on this kid, and he calls him out of his name, and he shoves him. The kid's just looking at his friend. When he shoves him again, The kid's been doing MMA for 10 years.
Oh, no.
He grabs him, hits him with a right, yokes him, puts him in guillotine, and sleeps him inside on the bathroom, in a public bathroom inside a bar. So this big football player gets yoked up by some little kid, man. You got to see it.
And you know what's so funny about that? We talked about this with some of my other boys. Back in the day, the football players were the big dogs. Like, they were the head of the pecking order. We talked about pecking order before. The football players, they were always the toughest guys. MMA has totally turned everything topsy-turvy because you don't know who's who.
Right. Look, you know what? You want to hear a perfect example? You got a guy that looks like Charles Rosa, and I love Charles Rosa. He's my brother, but he looks.
If you saw him in a bar,
he's a handsome gentleman. You know, little guy, hair combed over, no tattoos. You know, very well spoken.
Looks like a soccer player.
And that guy,
straight A soccer player.
And that guy will put you on your haircut, man. You know what I mean?
There's a video, bro. You just
look and Kenny
video.
Florian too.
Florian. Yeah, he's from like a rich family in Boston. Like, I think his dad's a doctor. And but you told me about a great video, which I'm going to find. Send me a link to it. And there's another one. If you haven't seen this one, this is exactly what we're talking about. It's either San Antonio or Austin, and everybody's getting out of the nightclub, and they're all in the parking lot. And this big Jack Black dude, who ended up being like the running back for like the big football team, whatever it was, Austin or San Antonio, knocks out a girl. A girl. That dude's got to be probably 220, 230, 6'3", whatever, you know, in the old days, top of the pecking order. Knocks out a girl. Well, just to the side, you see another Charles Rosa, you know, 5'9", 5'10", 155, soaking wet. Looking at him like, did you just do what I thought you just did? And the big black running back looks at the dude and he goes, "What are you gonna fucking do about it?" Right? Oh shit, I'll have to edit that out. What are you gonna do about it? And all of a sudden you hear the people in the crowd go, "That's Roger Huerta. That's Roger Huerta, UFC fighter." And you see the guy go like this, and he runs out of the frame. Huerta goes after him. The camera starts doing this. He catches up. The camera is only like 2 seconds behind. By the time the camera gets back on him, 2 seconds later, Huerta already has the guy on his back, and he stomps him.
Jiu-jitsu classes is where you find those type of guys. You know, the guys who work 9 to 5. Guys who are, gentlemen, very well-spoken guys, very cool guys, very, gamers, guys who play video games and stuff like this, but they'll wrap you up like a pretzel, man, you know?
Hey, before we take a tour, you've been gracious enough to let us know you're going to give us a tour, show us some of your trophies and your cool gym in the back. A couple real quick questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Hulk Hogan is a fan after your 3-second knockout over Benedetto. Hulk Hogan is a fan. Tell us what happened. How did that even?
Man, so that 3-second knockout rang bells all around the world. It gave me huge notoriety. It was amazing, and my girl wrestles for WWE, so all her friends found out because it went viral, and Hulk Hogan wrote to her. She's like, "Your man." He's like, "Dana, your man is a badass. Tell him to stay focused, don't lose sight, and keep training hard. And that he'll be at the next fight." Listen, amazing. I was a Hulkamaniac as a kid. Amazing, man. It was him. It was Phil Heath, which is like 7-time Mr. Olympia. Dave Bautista. It was amazing.
Wow.
It was amazing. Yeah, amazing.
My wife and I went to go see a Bond movie, and I had just interviewed Bautista, and we're watching the Bond movie, and we're in a movie cinema and everything. It's obviously way before COVID. We're in a movie cinema watching Bond, which is like the highest level movie there is, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden, Bautista comes on the big screen. He's 50 feet tall. He's the bad guy.
Oh yeah.
In a Bond movie.
He's doing amazing. He's all over Hollywood now, man. It's amazing.
And we were like, we know somebody who is in a Bond movie. That's Haley.
Hi, Haley.
Huh? Can you get a ride? Because I am doing a show right now, sweetheart. Can you get a ride? If not, I'll cut this short and we'll do the rest of it at another time and I'll edit it together. But right now, see if you can get a ride. Just let me know. Is it church? Okay. Sorry about that.
No, it's no problem. Trust me. I got
12-year-old. Yeah,
my doors rang 7 times. My phone's been going off the hook.
She came in with her Bible so that she wouldn't get yelled at.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Tell me these kids aren't smart.
No, he's amazing.
Father,
you
ride to church.
No, so listen to this. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. So today I checked my email before you had emailed me. My son's teacher, my 7-year-old's teacher, emailed me saying, "Hey, Ulysses has been complaining about his stomach pains. His stomach hurts. I've let him go to the bathroom several times, but he's saying it still hurts." So this is what it was. This morning when I took him to school, I forgot to bring his iPad. So I told him, before you finish school, he goes after school care to do his homework. I go, before school ends, I'll bring your iPad. Don't worry about it. So, today's been a busy day doing a lot of things. So what he's doing is telling his teacher his stomach hurts, taking his phone, putting it in his pocket, going to the bathroom and texting me, "Dad, are you bringing my iPad?" So I'm like, this guy's too smart, man. He's amazing.
Oh my God. Hold on one second, brother.
Yeah, no problem.
Need $1. She needs money. So I have a Hulk story.
Okay.
I'm in Tampa probably about 15 years ago, doing a Real Fighting Championship, RFC, at the USF Sundome. And I'm in the cage, and the director says, "Hey, man, Hulk Hogan's here." I'm like, "Oh." And he goes, he said he'd be happy to come into the cage. And I was interviewing fighters, kind of doing what you and Charles do, like how you interview fighters. So I was like interviewing a fighter inside the cage after one of his fights, and I had the IFB in. And he said he's happy to come into the cage. I'm like, "Oh yeah." Same thing. I was, total Hulk.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, "Oh yes." It's one of those moments in life, So I got to bring him. I got to do the big, everybody, it's time to make some noise.
Yeah.
So I'm in the cage. He comes in. He's walking towards me, and he goes like this. You can't see. He goes out like up to the high five, right? So I go up like this, and he's just doing that to get my hands up. He double legs me.
Oh shoot, that's awesome.
Double legs me. And he's down, and then he's got me down. And he goes, "Sorry about that, brother. Just doing it for the show. Just for the show. Sorry about that, brother." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" It's a story.
That's awesome.
You're apologizing.
That's awesome.
I got double legged by Hulk Hogan, and you're apologizing.
That's awesome. And they got it on film for sure.
And I got it on film. If anyone says that
awesome.
Never happened, here you go. Here it is right here.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's
Sorry
awesome,
about
Jay.
that, brother. Just doing it for the show.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
I know.
Man.
There's some little moments in life that are just awesome. All right, let me see if there's anything else I want to touch on before we take our tour. Oh yes, one more thing to talk on before we do our tour of your house.
Yes, sir.
You called out Jake Paul.
Yes, sir.
Big famous YouTuber. Crazy numbers, and he's kind of known as doing outrageous things. A lot of people.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people do not like the guy, but he's smart and knows how to make money. He knows how to get people to tune in.
Absolutely.
So what was it about Jake Paul that made, and you've got another side to you. Everyone's seen the beautiful, highly evolved side of you now, but when you need to take care of business, you take care of business. It was a serious call out, man. That was a serious call out. Did you guys have words, or did you come across each other's path? What led you to call out Jake Paul?
Well, I was part of Logan Paul's training camp when he fought KSI back in September and October of 2019. I sparred with Jake before, I signed an NDA, but he'll tell you I got the best of him back. You know what I mean? Yeah. So no, I don't have any personal issue with anybody. If you take anything personal, you lost the fight already. So it's nothing personal. I'm not mad at what he's doing. He's taking his notoriety and using it the right way. He wants to be a fighter. He trains hard. He does train hard. But I wanna get in there with him, and I want to show him that the people he's fighting are not fighters. He fought a basketball player and he fought a YouTuber. You know, now he's gonna fight Ben Askren. You know, Ben Askren, he's not too much of a stand-up guy, you know, but I mean, he did have a great MMA record, so he should get in there and handle Jake, you know. But you know, they made me an offer to fight on the Jake Paul undercard when he fights Ben Askren. It's the same weekend as the BKFC. Me and my management team are still trying to work this out. So you might see me on that, or you might see me on BKFC. Those two offers are still on the table. There's no contract signed yet, so we'll see what happens. And but when I do win on his undercard, you better believe I'm calling him out right there on his own show.
Oh man, your future is so bright. I mean,
thank you, Jay.
It's so obvious, man. All these things are just blowing up for you. Yes.
Thank you, Jay. Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely,
thank
brother. All right, show us your beautiful house and your
man.
And narrate it as you go through.
Yes, sir. This is this is my first BKFC medal right here. This was in Fort Lauderdale. Great card I was on. Won in 1 minute and 30 seconds against Brian Maxwell. Wow. And this was the world history maker right here. The shorts I wore, the gloves I wore, the medal they gave us. And here's the card right here. Me and Benedetto right there. They make all the fighters sign these posters. I like to hang them up.
Absolutely.
And keep them for my kids, man. Because this is this is another thing. Also, I was the MVP at a celebrity football game. I got the MVP football right here, and I got the MVP trophy.
Wow.
Let me see. We're going to see the trophy. They gave me an MVP trophy.
Wow.
I played in the celebrity sweat. I beat Doug Flutie for the first time in 7 years. Yeah.
He's my Newton awesome. Boy. He's my Newton boy.
Yeah.
No,
let me see if you can see.
Yeah.
It's kind of dark out here. Let's see if you can see the ring. But I have my ring right here.
Wow. A ring in your backyard?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Wow. I got a 12 by 12 here in the backyard. We got mean sparring sessions here. I got my bags. Yeah, I got my bags. Got my speed bag here. And I got another bag back over there.
There's good and bad. There's good and bad about this. Like the good is that you can work out whenever you want to. But the bad is there's no excuse. You can never say I can't get to the gym tonight.
No, and you want to hear the best part about it? I couldn't make this up. I couldn't make this up. My coach, Orlando Cuellar, aka Commander Zero, shout out to him. He got inducted to the Hall of Fame this year. My coach is my backdoor neighbor by the grace of God.
Wow.
I moved into this house 2 years ago. I hadn't seen him. I knew him from Fifth Street Gym when I first started boxing at Fifth Street. And me and him were always great friends. I moved into this house where I'm at now 2 years ago. I was going around the block because I pulled out of my driveway the wrong way. So I said, let me just go around the block. So when I run around the block, I see him getting out of his car, going in his house. Had a conversation, started training, and we've been together 2 years now, man. And I couldn't be with somebody better.
Wow.
So every morning he gets up, walks. There's an alley that he could cut to my house by. So he cuts the alley. He could walk from my house, from my front door to his front door, like less than a minute walk, basically.
Wow.
And so every day he's here.
Think of the odds of that, you know.
Hey, listen, it's amazing. It's a blessing, Jay.
There are no accidents.
Exactly.
So many great things happening for you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Happen to a nicer guy, you know.
Thank you.
The beauty of life, I'm noticing, if you do enough work on yourself, you know, and you get to a certain stage where you start having a certain comfort, like you're comfortable in your own skin, you know, and
right.
You start just becoming happier and happier and happier. And it makes me want to circle back to finish this up. Someone who's on the couch going dark, like you and I have both been, someone who really doesn't see much hope and doesn't see, you know, much possibilities. Would you have a message for them? You've been as low as you can go. I've been as low as you can go. Would you have a message that, you know, how that person, male or female, might begin to start to dig their way out of it, start getting kind of that happiness back again?
Yeah, you know what? My thing is, it's never too late to be what you could have been. You know, a lot of people think you know, they don't have the time and they're too old and or this and that and the other. There's a million excuses that people give themselves, like I used to give myself. You know, I've been in that position, and the hardest thing to do is just take that first step forward in whatever you're gonna do. You know what I mean? To take that first step and you'll find out that it's not too late. You know what I mean? As long as you're alive and you're breathing and you're on this side of the grass, when you wake up in the morning, it's another day to accomplish whatever goal you want to accomplish. You know, you just got to take that first step and go towards your goal.
You know, and also for that same person that you and I are talking to right now, think of the averages. If this makes it easier to figure out, think of math. Every single person I talk to who has dug their way out or is now, you know, killing it, whether it's financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically, they're just they're running on all 8 cylinders. They'll always tell you the same thing. Habits change. Do one little thing, like you do the early thing now, right?
Right.
I do cold showers, always cold showers. Well, why would you want to do that? Because all these great podcasters tell me how good it is for my brain and how good it is to wake up and be crisp. And it's a shock to the body, which is good for the body. It's good for the heart. Okay, that's all I need to know. I start doing it.
Right.
Someone tells me glutathione is one of the master antioxidants. It's amazing. I inhale it in my nebulizer. It's an antioxidant. It's part of my routine.
Absolutely.
I just incorporate it into my lifestyle. One little thing, and then pretty soon, like you and I were talking about, it starts doing this.
Absolutely, and it's a lot easier than anybody thinks. You know what I mean? You make it hard on yourself. You know, and it's a lot easier than you know. That's another message I would tell people. It's a lot easier than you think. You know, the hardest part is taking that first step. Once you take that first step, momentum will take you the rest of the way. You know?
Yeah. Oh man, it's great to meet a brother, and it's it's an honor to meet you. I can't wait to watch all this stuff unfold for you. And you know, another honor is hopefully to help in any way I can. And once I say I'm gonna do something, I do it. You'll see. I'm gonna introduce you to some people, and just to watch you, man, it's so inspirational.
Thank you, Jay. It means the world coming from you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I know you're a man of your word, so next time I have a feed, if you're around and you're not busy, I'm going to bring you over. A matter of fact, now when we hang up, I'm going to forward you one of the videos that we did for the feed so you can check it out.
Awesome. So, I tried to watch episode 9 live, and I had trouble getting to it. So
no, because it comes out, it premieres today at 7. Every Tuesday at 7:30 it premieres. So it's coming out tonight at 7:30. You'll see it.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Yes,
Can't wait to watch it. I'm sure it's going to be.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
Thank you, Joe.
People who want to get to know you, see what you've got going on, you know, want to learn more about Celebrity Sweat, want to learn more about Don't Blink and all the different things you have going on. What's the best place for them to go to?
The best and only place is Instagram is Uly, ULY_monster. You can find me right there. You can find what's going on. I post every day. My stories always filled with what's going on. I have a huge event coming up next week on March 5th, 305 Day. And it's called Gloves Up, Guns Down. We're taking kids off the street. We're giving them some gloves, and we're hosting an event where kids can come off the street and take out their anger and fight, and then you know they leave there being friends. You know, so that's going on next week.
Awesome, brother. Thank you so much. I know how busy you are, how valuable your time is. Thank you for your time, my friend.
Thank you
for all you're doing. Thank you.
United Fight Alliance, for the fighter in you.